Okay, and now that we are recording, thank you so much. I also wanted to give a quick disclaimer that we do not allow the use of AI transcribing softwares in our meetings. So please make sure that those are disabled if you are using one. We are going to be keeping an eye on that through our meetings. So, we kind of have to moderate ourselves. If we boot somebody thinking that it is AI, I so apologize. Please just rejoin the meeting. We're happy to have you. So with that being said, today's presentation is going to be the Reducing Industrial Sector Emissions in Pennsylvania program, also known as RISE-PA. We have several of our colleagues on the line with us to kind of give us a presentation and answer your questions about the program. We are going to have a Q&A portion at the end of the session that will be totally open. Feel free to ask whatever you would like. You can also put your questions in the chat if you would prefer at any time. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the RISE-PA team for a presentation. Take it away. RISE-PA team, can you...
Oh, I'm so sorry. My headset wasn't set. Hi, thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
I'll restart there. Sorry about that. So my name is Ellie Cadden, and I am an energy program specialist working on the RISE-PA grant program out of the Department of Environmental Protection. RISE-PA, again, as Sarah mentioned, stands for Reducing Industrial Sector Emissions in Pennsylvania. And here with me today is Tim Lasande. We are both the medium and large scale award track coordinators for the grant program, and we work in the Southeastern Regional Office in Norristown outside of Philadelphia. And Louis Crack, the implementation lead for RISE-PA, has joined us as well, and he's a fantastic resource as we answer any questions at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. So RISE-PA is a $396 million statewide industrial decarbonization grant program that aims to substantially reduce greenhouse gas and co-pollutant emissions from Pennsylvania's industrial sector by funding small, medium, and large-scale decarbonization projects at industrial facilities across the Commonwealth. This is actually the second largest competitive award ever secured in Pennsylvania's history. It's really a transformational investment in Pennsylvania's industry. RISE-PA is funded through EPA's climate pollution reduction grants. And so for the remainder of our time, we'll be providing an overview of the program, including the award structure, some eligible project examples, the project timeline, and some helpful resources for you as well. So Pennsylvania's industrial sector has been a central economic driver for more than a century and is home to over 13,000 manufacturers that contribute more than $113 billion to the Commonwealth's economy and also provide 11% of the Commonwealth's jobs. So you could say that RISE-PA can also stand for revitalizing industrial sector economies in Pennsylvania because this program will help industrial companies reduce their operating costs and boost competitiveness, all while simultaneously creating a lot of high quality jobs and ensuring that real benefits are flowing to impacted communities. Decarbonizing industry can be very expensive due in large part to the large upfront capital investments needed for decarbonization technologies. And to put this cost into perspective, analysis shows that the cost to decarbonize just Pennsylvania's industrial sector by 80% is $34.6 billion. So RISE-PA funding will help to make industrial decarbonization projects more economically feasible and also reduce a major barrier to deploying both new and existing emissions reduction technologies. So given that a typical industrial plant spends about 30 to 50% of its operating budget on energy, RISE-PA projects that implement things like energy efficiency measures and deploy on-site renewable energy generation will help Pennsylvania companies reduce their operational costs, improve bottom lines, and also make energy more affordable. Analysis on the RISE-PA program design indicates that RISE-PA has the potential to create upwards of 6,000 new jobs installing and maintaining industrial equipment in Pennsylvania. And also internationally, there is a growing link between emissions reductions and trade competitiveness. So as an example, the European Union's carbon border adjustment will apply a carbon tax to heavily traded goods entering the EU beginning in 2027. So these goods could include iron, steel, cement, and fertilizers, and products with higher emissions will face higher tax penalties. So through RISE PA, Pennsylvania can prepare for these global market shifts by making proactive investments in decarbonization. So what do these eligible projects look like? RISE PA will offer grants for a wide range of projects because there really is no one size fits all for decarbonizing industry. And as a result, we intentionally left the definition of an eligible project very broad. So ultimately, projects would deploy one or more of the decarbonization solutions that are listed on this slide. So we'll just go through a couple examples for each. So first, energy efficiency projects are really the most cost-effective and shovel-ready solutions, including those that reduce direct fuel or electricity use, utilize insulation, or deploy smart energy management systems. Electrification projects could include low or zero carbon process heat systems and combined heat and power systems. Projects that reduce industrial process emissions could include deploying industrial heat pumps. Fuel switching projects that enable the transition to low carbon fuels might include solar thermal heating systems or retrofitting a furnace to burn clean hydrogen. On-site renewable energy could include solar, wind turbines, micro hydropower, or geothermal. Carbon capture utilization and storage projects are also eligible, along with fugitive emissions reduction technologies, which could include regenerative thermal oxidizers, or RTOs, or ventilation air systems that destroy coal mine methane. And then I'll also note in the last bullet, other technology not explicitly listed that reduces industrial greenhouse emissions might also be eligible as determined by RISE PA. So one of the really exciting things about this program is that we don't yet know all of the potential types of projects and what they could be. And we have that opportunity to fund innovative and potentially first of their kind projects that can serve as national models as well. So now I'll hand it to Tim to discuss what we mean by industrial sector emissions and who is eligible to apply.
Thank you, Ellie. Next slide. So before we dive in, we just want to do some quick level setting so that we are all on the same page about the definition of industrial sector emissions. So every year, DEP publishes a greenhouse gas inventory that breaks down all the emission sources in the Commonwealth by sectors. So in order to be eligible to receive an award, projects must reduce emissions from Pennsylvania industrial sector, which total just over 80 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2021, because this data was obtained in 2021, which is the most recent year that we have emissions data from. So this program is focused on industrial sector because it's the highest emitting sector statewide, as Ellie mentioned, and it accounts for about 30% of Pennsylvania's total greenhouse gas emissions. And to note, the industrial sectors that generate most of this have been subcategorized, and these subgroups are the industrial fossil fuel combustion, so that is high in the emissions, the industrial process emissions, and the fugitive emissions from natural gas, and those that are generated from oil systems, including those that are from the coal mining and abandoned coal mines. It's important for me to also mention that we wanted us to note that the RISE PA is including emissions from industrial electricity usage, even though these emissions are accounted for under the electricity sector in the inventory. So applicants who are eligible to submit project proposals include manufacturers, if you're an industrial facility owner or you're a landlord, coal mine owners or operators, and owners or operators of natural gas and oil systems. There are 4 ways we determine if you are eligible. And speaking about the very first is you must qualify as a facility that has the North American Industrial Classification System. That's the NAICS codes. And if your NAICS codes fall between 31 and 33, 11, 21, and 23, then you're eligible. You will also qualify as an industrial facility if you're an owner or if you're an operator of a facility that produces industrial process emissions. And talking about the facilities, this include owners or operators of more active underground or surface coal mines, which is quite predominant, and abandoned underground mines or coal processing operations as well. These are part of those that are classified under this eligible projects. So an owner operator of one or more natural gas or oil systems, this include facilities that are producing, transmitting, and distributing, as well as those that are within the oil well production. They all are eligible for this project funding. Talking about the third basket of eligibility, this includes those companies that are providing energy as a service. So if you're an energy as a service company provider, if you're a sustainability as a service company provider, and if you're a landlord of industrial facilities, provided that the project is conducted within an eligible industrial facility, you are eligible to apply. The next slide, please. So let's quickly dive into the different scopes that have been emphasized previously. Scope 1 emissions can be defined as those stationary combustion, mobile combustion, that is talking about the facility boundary. It must be within the boundary that you have set. Fugitive emissions and process emissions from direct sources, which are owned and operated at a facility. On the other hand, Scope 2 emissions can be defined as the purchased electricity and those purchased heat and steam at a facility. It's important to note that these are indirect emissions. So anything that you generate that is indirect within those that I've mentioned fall within the Scope 2 emissions. And we are looking at both the combination of the Scope 1 and Scope 2. I'll hand it over to Ellie to provide more insight on the award tracks that we have in this RISE PA grant.
Thank you, Tim. So RISE PA will issue $360 million of funding across 3 different award tracks. That's small, medium, and large. The small scale award track is administered by the Pennsylvania Technical Assistance Program, or PennTAP, which is part of Penn State University. And to be eligible to apply for the small scale award track, a company must either get an energy audit from PennTAP or an equivalent technical assessment report from another qualified assessor. We do not require a minimum greenhouse gas emissions reduction threshold for small scale projects, but the amount of reductions from the project will be considered during the evaluation process. And the medium scale and large scale award tracks are administered by DEP. And differently from the small scale awards, these projects must achieve a minimum 20% reduction in total Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, as Tim was describing. And this is at the industrial facility where the project will be implemented. In these projects, specifically, we're looking to fund those really big, transformative, and innovative ideas. So a little bit about our award structure. There is $40 million available in the small scale award track. PennTAP will be issuing awards ranging from $25,000 to $500,000, and the applicant will be required to provide a 50% cost share. This means that if the total project cost is $1 million or less, that project will fall within the small scale award track. However, as a reminder, you can only apply to do a small scale project if you meet that definition of a small or medium-sized manufacturer. There will be $100 million available in the medium scale award track, and DEP will issue awards ranging from $300,000 to $20 million. And the applicant must provide a 70% cost share. So if the total project cost is greater than $1 million, but less than $66.7 million, that project will fall in the medium scale award track. and there will be $220 million available for the large-scale award track. So these are award sizes that will range from $20 million to $110 million, with the applicant again providing a 70% cost share. If the total project cost is over $66.7 million, then that project will fall within the large-scale award track. That was a lot of numbers, so bear with me. There is also an opportunity for projects to earn bonus award allocations that will be added to the base grant award if projects meet additional criteria. So these bonus awards will increase the award size and therefore decrease the cost share requirement. So the community benefits bonus is available across all 3 award tracks and is worth 10% of the total project cost. And this will be awarded to projects located in and benefiting impacted communities. And we'll go over each bonus award in the next slides. Applicants in all award tracks may also be eligible to receive the Fair Labor Bonus, which is worth up to 10% of the total project cost for meeting additional labor requirements beyond the prevailing wage and apprenticeship requirements that all projects must satisfy. And finally, only the medium and large scale projects are eligible for the greenhouse gas emissions reduction bonus, which is worth up to 10% of the total project cost for projects that reduce over 20% of the total facility emissions. For a medium or large scale track, if the maximum amount of the bonus is achieved, then the base grant award could be a maximum of 60% of the total project cost, meaning that your cost share requirement would reduce to 40% of the total project cost. So now I'll go over a little bit about each bonus. To receive the community benefits bonus, applicants must submit a community benefits plan. The plan must set forth the applicant's approach to ensuring that investments are flowing to impacted communities, such as low-income and disadvantaged communities. Community benefits can cover a wide variety of efforts and should be determined by the community's priorities ultimately. And to identify low-income and disadvantaged communities in your geographical area, there is updated guidance on the RISE PA website to use the Penn EnviroScreen tool. And also keep in mind that this shouldn't be a plan to further plan, so to speak. So for each of the 4 goals of the community benefits plan, there should be at least one milestone that can be achieved that is measurable, attainable, and impactful. And the goals focus on things like community involvement and improving environmental health and economic benefits. Plans are to be accessible to the public, and community participation is key. So RISE PA is anticipated to create high-quality jobs, and the Fair Labor Bonus is for efforts that go above and beyond the project requirements. So to earn the bonus, there are 3 different requirements depending on which award track is pursued. The Good Neighbor Agreement must include plans to ensure access to jobs and business opportunities for local residents, including investment in training for local workers, and also commitments to paying good wages and benefits above prevailing wage. Collective bargaining commitments include a commitment to negotiate a project labor agreement for construction activity and pledging to remain neutral during any union organizing, among other activities. And third, participation in the Commonwealth Workforce Transformation Program, which provides funding for on-the-job training and support services for new employees brought onto the job site to do project work. So please note, small-scale projects will only need to complete at least one of these requirements to be eligible for the bonus. Medium-scale projects will need to complete 2, and large-scale projects must complete all 3 components to be eligible for the Fair Labor Bonus. And then finally, only medium and large scale projects can receive the incremental greenhouse gas emissions reduction bonus. This is for exceeding the 20% emissions reduction threshold that your project must satisfy. So you can see that the percentage of the bonus increases with the maximum 10% being achieved when the project can reduce 41% or more of emissions. So now I'll hand it back to Tim to cover some of the logistics of the program.
So our understanding the project timeline is crucial for all applicants. It's important to know the performance period, and this ranges from 6 to 24 months, and that starts from the grant award dates. We are currently anticipating that the grants are going to be awarded in December, so we'll keep you informed. So for more complex projects, because not all the projects would have the same size and complexity, so especially those that have very clear motivation, we may consider requests for an extended period up to 3 years at the very maximum, because we also have to do the measurement, monitoring, and evaluation within this whole period and wrap up the project. It's also vital to remember that all projects must be fully completed before the April 1, 2029 due date. That's when all projects must be completed, including the MMV. And any cost incurred before receiving a fully executed grant agreement is with that understanding that that cost may not be reimbursed. So we have in the documents that have been provided, which is the guidance document stating that cost incurred from October 1, 2024 may be reimbursed, but we just have to be very clear on this understanding that not all costs may be reimbursed. The next slide. So let's look at eligible expenditure. That's important in this RISE PA program. So expenses towards labor and capital expenditure, which are listed on the slide, are eligible for funding through the RISE PA. So material costs, equipment, delivery, even software, as long as it's part of what contributes towards the project reducing the greenhouse gas emission and co-pollutant by the specified required numbers, 20% and above. That so the software will also qualify. We have construction, installation, retrofitting, tools, and contractual work. These are all covered as eligible expenses. You also have the travel costs, which is it must be integral to the project. It is important to note that measurement, monitoring, and verification, up to 1% of the total project cost, or 70,000 US dollars, is also covered. And I would explain what we mean by 10% or $70,000. If you have a project, for example, which has a total project cost of 1 million, and 10% of that will be $10,000. That's 1% of that will be 10,000 US dollars that you can request for. It will be part of the non-reimbursable, but it's going to be added to your co-share funding. Then we also have a situation where a project can be as large as 50 million US dollars. Looking at 1% of that is over it's 500,000 US dollars. But in that particular scenario, you can only have 70%. That you can only have 70,000 US dollars. So the total percentage, the 10%, will not suffice in this particular situation. The next slide, please. So important timelines, the program rollout, as I've already mentioned, the RISE PA program is accepting applications from medium and large scale project all up to 11:59 p.m. on August 29, 2025. It's also very important to note that a second funding opportunity for medium and large scale award tracks is not guaranteed. That means that if the DEP receives enough high quality applications, we would allocate all 320 million US dollars, and we may choose to do so. So that's with that clear understanding. Also note, as Ali has mentioned, the PENTAP is accepting applications for the small scale award track up through August 15. So we are barely 2 weeks away. And the DEP will begin reviewing application and issuing awards for medium and large scale projects in the fall. We are anticipating that for the medium and large scale, the announcement will be sometimes in December, and we are all looking forward to that good news. I'll hand over to Ellie for more information on program resources.
Thank you, Tim. And just want to reiterate that the small scale award track will have multiple rounds, whereas the medium and large scale, we're anticipating only having one round. So while that deadline for the small scale award track is August 15th, there will be another application round opening in September and then closing again December 15th. And then they will open another round in 2026. So keep an eye out for that, and we can send some links in the chat. Now, I wanted to just close by sharing some program resources. So this slide has some links to different resources available on the RISE PA webpage, including a link to our application. And on PennTap's website, you can find an example application and a frequently asked questions document that's specific to the small scale award track. And please note that the small scale award track also has its own application that can be found on the PennTap website. So similarly, on the RISE PA DEP website, we have a brand new frequently asked questions document that we do plan to update weekly as we get more really good questions. So hopefully if you ask any good questions today, we'll add those to the FAQ as well. And we also have an example application, an example budget template, just kind of giving you an idea of the level of detail we're looking for in an application. We also have a public feedback form that I would love to direct your attention to. We'd be very grateful to read your comments or concerns or questions about the program. So I can share these links after the meeting today. And finally, thank you all so much for joining us. If you have any questions or would like to set up a 30-minute call with our team, you can email the address on this slide, and I'll also drop my email in the chat. And this program is really the first of its kind coming to Pennsylvania. We're very excited and honored to bring it to PA. And with that, thank you again, and we can take any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ellie and Tim. So please, the idea for these meetings is that we're all here to have a conversation with each other. So feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to speak and ask questions directly. You can come off mute, be on camera. We love to just have a conversation with you. If you'd prefer, we'll take questions in the chat as well. So feel free to do all of that. That is fine. In the meantime, while you're kind of thinking about maybe questions you have and how to phrase it, I do have a poll that I've created just to help our team gauge, how we can best direct information for you all. So I'm going to launch that now. It's just 2 questions about, what organizations you represent and if you're interested in applying for RISE PA. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that while we're waiting for some questions to come in. So let's see. I'm not seeing any questions come through just yet. Oh, here we go. Now they're starting to pour in. So Ryan asks, what are the models you are hoping applicants will use to measure the baseline and impacts of greenhouse gas reductions?
Great question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Respond to that. We've got links to that based on what the EPA has provided. So we know that different facilities utilize different standards. There is no size fit all, but we require that you provide us the full details of whatever it is that you are utilizing. We want to see the calculations that how you came about your greenhouse gas emission reduction forecast. We want to see the calculations. We want to see the theoretical background behind why that particular approach has been taken. We are also interested in seeing the methodology. It's important for us to know what you're referencing. So, but we have quite a lot of links that have been provided within the guidance document. That's for the medium and large award track, and you can just utilize that. That will really be useful in doing the calculations.
Yeah, and I just put the link to the program guidance document in the chat. That's really our go-to for all aspects of the program. And in Appendix A, toward the end of the program guidance document, there's more guidance there around baseline greenhouse gas emissions calculation. There's a link to the simplified greenhouse gas emissions calculator from EPA, and also an emissions factor hub that you can use to calculate emissions from purchased electricity and fuel type and different things along that nature. Thanks, Tim.
Great. So I'm seeing the next question popping up in the chat is from Jed, who asks, where can the recording for this call be found for later reference? So I can drop the link for our Energy Funding and Assistance Resources page. That is where you can find all information about the Spotlight series, as well as links, fact sheets, other information about a whole variety of funding and assistance opportunities that are available. So it usually takes us a couple weeks to get it up on the website, so we ask for your patience, but we will have that posted for you all here in the coming days. So just keep an eye out. I'm not seeing any other questions come through so far. I'm trying to look at the results of our poll here. It looks like we have some folks from the industrial sector on, some non-industrial businesses, some local governments. It also looks like we have a couple people who are still unsure if they're going to be applying to RISE PA, but they are interested. So certainly if there are questions that we can answer for you that might help move that to a yes, we would be happy to do that. While we are waiting to see if anybody else has anything else they would like to ask about the program, I was curious, we did talk about what resources are available to help with those sort of emissions calculations. But is there a way we could talk about maybe how those applications are going to be evaluated and what folks should keep in mind as they're putting that together?
Thank you for that question. I think I'll go for that. We have an evaluation criteria. We have the project factors. We also have the quality factors that we're going to be utilizing for the evaluation. Beyond the project and quality factors, we have the program policy factors as well. And just a little insight into what is in the project factors. We look at the overall project approach that is taken. We also consider the commercial viability, the financial viability. So is it a project that we're putting in dollars into and the return on investment, or rather the outcomes is very low or is very high? Those are some of the things we're going to be looking at. And quite a lot of the analysis and evaluation will come from the technical feasibility. So we're going to look at how feasible the project is from a technical point of view. And that starts from the greenhouse gas emission reduction and the co-pollutants that the applicants are prospecting to reduce. So we also have the level of innovation. We look at the impact of those innovation, and there are also the environmental community outputs. So what impact is this going to have on the community? And we also use some other performance measures in that line. There is an aspect that you would also find in the guidance document for the medium and large scale award track, which Ellie mentioned while presenting. That has to do with the benefits to low income and disadvantaged communities. And within this project factors as well, we are going to evaluate the workforce and the job quality that is involved in the project. And we are hoping that this project, which is supporting both the climate and economy of Pennsylvania, jobs will be created through this or some other. There'll be real economic movement within Pennsylvania. We are also going to look at the quality factors, and the first quality factor that we are considering is the sufficiency of the technical detail that you provide in your application. That will be carefully scrutinized to see the technical details. So that we are having technical feasibility, and this is also technical, based both in the project factors and the quality factors. We also look at the level of understanding of the key anticipated risk. We know that the risk will differ based on the type of project that the applicants are putting forth. So we are going to look at the level of the risk, the anticipated risk. Then we also look at the clarity and appropriateness of the roles and responsibility of the project management. So those that are going to be handling this project, we have a risk analysis metrics that our third party partners are going to utilize. So because the DEP will be doing part of the evaluation in some stages, and because it's a multi-phase analysis evaluation approach. So we'll start from the DEP, and it goes to a third party that is our partners that will also do some analysis, especially in the aspect of financial feasibility, before it gets returned back to us within the DEP, and an executive committee is going to meet. And there are also other stages within that phase that would determine the applicants that, or the awardees eventually that will get the grant. For the sake of time, I think I should just mention two other things within the quality factors, and then I'll mention one thing under the policy factor, just for the sake of time. So we have the qualifications, relevant expertise, and time commitment of individuals on the team. It's very important. And we also look at the baseline metrics and the project milestones. Those are some of the things that are going to be evaluated under the quality factors. Diversity is very important. It's a statewide project, and we want it to, reach every part of the state. So the degree to which the proposed project exhibits geographic diversity when compared with other projects selected for the RISE PA funding is also part of those parameters that we are going to utilize. The full listing is within the guidance document, which you can always refer to. I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Well, that was extremely thorough. Thank you, Tim. I think that should cover that. I wasn't sure, Ellie, if you had anything you wanted to add to that, but if not, we have other questions we could chat about. Perfect.
Yeah.
We have another question that came through in the chat, which was, if we are proposing a fuel switch to biofuel, should greenhouse gas reductions be based only on the on-site emissions, or can we include life cycle emissions from the biofuels in calculations?
I don't know, Tim, if you want to take that one.
Okay, you push that to me. That's fine.
Oh, it's okay. Either way.
Yeah, no, you can take that. Yeah.
Okay, so for the application itself, we're looking at on-site emissions. So for a medium and large scale applicant, you will actually be responsible for defining the boundary of your industrial facility. And we're providing some flexibility in that aspect because the 20% threshold is pretty it's a high threshold. And so you can define the boundary within your facility's footprint that you plan to reduce your emissions within. So once you define that boundary, you'll be responsible for showing a baseline emissions calculation for scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. So that's your direct combustion and your indirect purchase of electricity or steam. And you will have that baseline calculation and then show your projected calculations with your project. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but definitely focus on on-site emissions.
Just to add to that, every facility is unique. So if you've got multiple facilities in multiple locations, you would have to apply for the grant individually, meaning that each grant is specific to the location within that boundary conditions or the boundary area that you have specified in your application. So if you're considering applying for 2 different facilities, you would submit 2 different applications. I think some of these questions are in the frequently FAQ document, and you find those answers clearly explained and expatiated. Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm not seeing any further questions come through in the chat, so hopefully to wrap us up here then. If folks do need a little bit more information or want to talk further about their specific project ideas, what would be the best way for them to get in contact with you all?
I would say to email us. So I dropped my email in the chat. Tim, I don't know if you can drop your email in the chat as well, but one of us will absolutely get back to you, hopefully the same day. And then also, we've been setting up 30-minute calls just on Teams like this, and it's been proving to be very productive to get through all of your questions and different concerns about your application. So please reach out. We can schedule a call or just answer your emails or your questions over email.
Awesome. I am going to just copy paste your email in the chat for folks who might have joined after you shared that. But I think oh, you are right on top
Thanks,
of it.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alrighty, folks. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so I think that's going to be all for today. As I said, you can always reach me to talk more about the content of this series or other questions you may have about some of the topics we've presented on so far, what we might have coming up. My email address, again, is going to go in the chat. I would love to talk to you. Please do feel free to reach out at any time. Let us know what you're interested in and how we can help. So we hope to see you back here next month. We are going to be talking about home energy efficiency and residential energy assessments with our colleague Heather Cowley here in the Energy Programs Office. So this will be great for not only homeowners, but renters as well. We all have a place that we're joining from today. So if you would like to figure out how to make that place more efficient, this will be the one for you. So we will see you, I believe that would be August 28th at noon. So please join us again. We hope to see you there. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.